Hello. In a world full of information, opinions, and noise, there's one skill that can truly set you apart: critical thinking. The ability to question what you hear, understand what you read, and think clearly through problems is more valuable now than ever. But most people never get trained in it. They think critical thinking is something you either have or don't, like a personality trait. In reality, it's a mental skill you can develop. And today, I want to show you one tool that changed the way I approach almost everything. This tool isn't an app, it's not a gadget, it's a simple, structured framework you can carry in your mind. And once you start using it, it's hard to go back. This tool is called the Question Compass. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to use it in conversations, reading, problem solving, and making better decisions.
Let's begin with the problem. We're surrounded by headlines, hot takes, half-truths, and clickbait. Information is everywhere, but wisdom feels rare. The internet has made it easy to speak and harder to think. Social media doesn't reward nuance, it rewards outrage. The more reactive you are, the more engagement you get. The more black and white your opinion, the more visibility it receives. That means most of us are being trained quietly, constantly, to react, not reflect. We scroll past a post, feel something, anger, agreement, disgust, and hit share. We repeat what we hear without checking the source. We argue without understanding the full picture. We mistake volume for truth. But every once in a while, there's a pause, a moment where you stop and ask, is this even true? What don't I know? Who benefits from me believing this? That pause is the beginning of critical thinking. It's what separates thoughtful minds from impulsive ones. And no, critical thinking doesn't mean being cynical or distrusting everything. It means being curious, not closed. It's about asking better questions, staying open to different perspectives, and resisting the urge to jump to conclusions just because they feel emotionally satisfying. In fact, some of the most intelligent people I've ever met are the ones who say, "I'm not sure yet. Let's look deeper." It's complicated, and that's okay. They don't need certainty to feel secure. They've made peace with complexity. But how do you get there? How do you develop that calm space between input and reaction, especially in a world that constantly demands speed and opinion? You train for it. Like any mental habit, it can be practiced. And that's where the question compass comes in. A simple tool that helps you slow down, get clear, and think through the noise. Not with judgment, but with genuine clarity. Let's break it down.
Think of the question compass like a mental map, something you can pull out anytime you're faced with information, decisions, or even conflicting opinions. It's not about instantly accepting or rejecting something. It's about giving yourself space to explore, to think. Most people rush into yes or no, right or wrong, agree or disagree. But real thinkers, the kind that build insight over time, don't live on those extremes. They slow down, they get curious, and that's what this tool is designed to help you do. Here are the 4 directions. 1. Clarify. What does this really mean? This is the starting point. Too often we respond to something we haven't fully understood. We argue over definitions, react to tone, or get lost in vague language. Clarifying means rephrasing in your own words. What's actually being said here? Are we even talking about the same thing? Whether it's a news article, a tweet, or a friend's opinion, you'd be surprised how much clarity comes from simply slowing down to understand, before deciding what you think. 2. Challenge. What assumptions are being made? Every statement carries hidden assumptions. Sometimes they're harmless. Sometimes they're deeply flawed. Ask, what is this based on? Is there real evidence here or just emotion? What biases might be influencing this claim or my reaction to it? This is where you protect yourself from lazy logic and manipulation. When you learn to challenge with curiosity, not aggression, you start spotting holes in arguments and in your own thinking too. 3. Contextualize. What's missing? Almost every message you see online is a fragment, not the whole story. Data can be cherry-picked. Stories can be one-sided. Outrage often comes from zooming in too far. Contextualizing means asking, what else is happening here? What am I not seeing? Who's framing this and for what purpose? When you step back, you begin to see connections, motives, and patterns that aren't obvious on the surface. You stop being a passive consumer and become an active observer. 4. Connect. How does this fit with what I know? This is where reflection meets integration. Ask yourself, does this align with what I've learned? Is it challenging me in a good way? Does this confirm something I believe, or should I reconsider it? True critical thinking isn't just about saying, this is wrong. It's about weaving new insights into your broader understanding of the world, or being willing to revise that understanding when necessary. Once you run ideas through this compass, something powerful shifts. You become less reactive, more grounded, more confident in how you see and respond to the world. It's not about having all the answers. It's about having better questions and knowing how to ask them.
Let's say you come across a headline that says 85% of people hate their jobs. It's bold, emotional, maybe even relatable, depending on your own experience. But before you react, before you repost it with a comment like, "This is so true," pause. Run it through the question compass. Clarify. What does hate actually mean here? Is it deep emotional distress or just daily dissatisfaction? Are people miserable or just mildly disengaged? Vague language creates strong reactions, and this word, hate, is designed to do just that. Clarifying the definition is your first step toward understanding what's really being claimed. Challenge. Where did this number come from? What's the original source? Was it a peer-reviewed study or a LinkedIn survey with a few thousand clicks? Who funded it, and what was their agenda, if any? Is 85% reflective of the population at large or a small selective sample? Asking these questions helps you avoid mistaking noise for truth. Contextualize. What jobs were surveyed? Corporate? Manual labor? Creative fields? Maybe the study focused only on one industry. What if the questions were leading or overly negative? What if the people who love their work didn't respond at all? Context helps you see what was left out, and that's often where the real story lives. Connect. How does this claim fit with your personal experiences? Does it align with people you know or feel exaggerated? Does it confirm a belief you already hold or challenge one? And are you open to either possibility? Now, instead of a clickbait headline, you have a layered reflection. It's not just a fact, it's a conversation. That's the power of critical thinking. It doesn't close the door, it opens it wider.
So, what actually changes when you start using this tool regularly? 1. You become a better listener. Instead of just waiting for your turn to speak, you start asking deeper questions that open up dialogue. 2. You stop getting manipulated. Whether it's political spin, media bias, or marketing tactics, you begin to see through the fog. 3. You make better decisions. When you learn to pause, assess, and reflect, your choices get stronger. 4. You build intellectual humility. You stop needing to be right all the time. You become more curious, less reactive. And perhaps most importantly, you build trust. People start turning to you not because you have all the answers, but because you ask the right questions. Here's how to start practicing this today. Take one post, article, or argument you saw recently. Write it down. Run it through the 4-question compass. Reflect on what changed in your perspective. You can even do this in your journal or in conversation with a friend. Over time, it becomes second nature, and you'll notice that your thinking is sharper, your communication clearer, and your patience deeper.
We live in a world where thinking is often outsourced, where people scroll endlessly, repeating opinions they haven't examined, reacting to headlines they haven't read. But you don't have to live that way. You can become the kind of person who pauses, who reflects, who sees through noise and finds signal. And all it takes is one tool, one habit, one compass to guide your questions. So next time you're unsure, before you react, before you reply, stop and ask, what does this really mean? What is it based on? What am I missing? How does this connect? That's how critical thinking begins. That's how it grows. Not in a classroom, not in a textbook, but right here, in everyday moments. Thank you for watching. If this helped you think differently, share it with someone who thinks deeply. Until next time, stay curious.